Okay, thank you for staying tuned to Data Radio 104.7 FM. It's 18 minutes past 9 a.m. and we are saying welcome to you this very morning on the Polity on the seriously authentic radio dial, transmitting from the commercial nerve center of Anambra State on nature. My name is Frank Nibuk, and this very morning we are poised to bring you developments in the nation and beyond our borders. Of course, it's 16th day of July 2026, and it's Thursday, so we are clocking towards the weekend when the likes of Chisom, they get excited about it because it's time to unwind. And for some other persons too, it's also a good time for them to, take some time off work and get to relax, share time with family, and do all that catch up. So this very morning, we are going to bring you up to speed with development because we have a couple of issues that are getting attention. I talk about what is in the news. The governor of Anambra said it's in the news because of a statement he posted on his social media platform, precisely on Facebook, in the early hours of this very morning. When I woke up around 5 a.m., I was on his Facebook page, and the post he made was having about 1,000 reactions. Yes, that's comments. As of 30 minutes ago, I went back to that very page. It has crossed over to 2,800 comments. So maybe it could be in the region of 3,000 now, and there's been mixed reactions on that very post. Then in Delta State, a content creator is in the news because he chose to leave out what he had sometime professed on his Facebook page. We are going to tell you about that in the course of this very program. And in the area of sports, Argentina came from behind to beat England in World Cup second semi-final match. And it was a heartbreaking moment for England because after Anthony Gordon scored that very goal, they thought they were on the verge of making it to the World Cup final. But Lautaro Martinez and others, they had another plan for the night. And now we have Argentina going to meet Spain in the final of the World Cup, while England is going to face France for the third place match. Then you talk about what's linked to Malami, to the federal government. The issue of insecurity is still there because the gunman menace has continued. Kogi stayed in the news because some persons were abducted. Then talk about the ongoing discussions on state police is still there, captured by various newspapers. The PFIPC scandal is also there because Atiku and the presidency, they're having back and forth, and we also have Senate in the mix. Then there are also more voices seconding the notion that the judiciary determines who rules Nigeria. Yesterday I saw Isaac Fayoshe. He was on TV kicking against the phenomenon of building houses for judges. And he said that needs to be stopped if we want to have the judiciary emancipated from the grip of the executive. So all these and more, you are going to see them today by the time we begin to bring out the headlines we have this very morning. And we have to remind you too that we are live on our Facebook page, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Get on that very page and drop your comment. We are going to acknowledge them at the right time. On YouTube and Instagram, we are Udala Radio. Good morning, Chisom, the fly girl.
Interesting. That actually reminds me of how many years ago now? 5 or 6. My colleagues at a former workplace in Asaba would remember. They used to call me Somi, fly girl Somi.
Oh my goodness!
Are you calling me fly girl now?
I read things.
What happened?
I read things.
Reader.
Yes.
Good morning, Frank. Good morning, Nigerians. And of course, yes, like you pointed out, you see that man in the news in Delta for that inhuman thing he did to the girl that led her to have a deeper conversation on that. I personally would always fight when it comes to the girl child, and seeing that the life of a girl was lost in that, I am hoping that there is no settlement out of court. The culprit here is tried and gets to face the sentence, because this isn't just a case of rape now. This is a case of leading someone to death.
Okay, so on the analysis desk, we have Tony Sambeki, who is going to make sense of these whole things we are going to bring your way this morning. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning to you, Franklin. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, Anambra. Good morning, Ndi Onitsha Donedu. Good morning, Ndi Osumohu. Good morning, Ndi Akoro. Ndafia, the Nani Fobana, the commuters, the drivers, the motorists, everyone. Good morning, in the Arubo, our farmers, and good morning, those who are in many places. And then it's another miracle of waking up this morning, and today being Thursday, the 16th day in the month of July, in the year 2026. Wherever you
of Miss Sophia, that the process leading to his final commitment to Mother Earth are going to start today. I think today happens to be procession. So what that means is that people of Anambra State might be emptying into his Sophia for this. I'm talking about later His Royal Highness Igwe Colonel CAO Mogalo, the Sun Kibwa of Isofia. So I understand that the processes are going to start today, and maybe by tomorrow we will have a clearer view of what the burial arrangement is like, and for the fact that is the town where the governor comes from. So we're expecting that the cream de la cream are going to be there for that very commitment to mother.
also declared autonomous, and then they were given recognition by the then government. But when another government came in and said, no, Anambra will not practice autonomous community. The need for us to be one. If we go on to have autonomous community, means that every time we like to divide. For the government, then it was a way to divide people. And once they are divided, they will start fighting over land, issue of boundary, issue of demarcation, and it will cause unrest. Okay. And then government faded it out. But this traditional ruler was instrumental, because I think it was his selection as a traditional ruler that brought about the issue. Because it was stated then it was not their turn. That the turn that it was due to found that he couldn't have become the traditional ruler. And when the whole thing was playing out, they succeeded. But the current governor played a role. There's no doubt. Some of these things happened around 2000.
Announced on April 16, 2026. And I pray that God is going to grant his soul eternal rest, so that tomorrow he can be reckoned as one of the lead cheers. So we're going to go for this commercial break. Once we return, it will be our time for us to take the headlines in the paper. Stay with us.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Bịa onye na-ere Malta Guinness, wetakwa otu bọtụ Malta Guinness ọzọ. Onye na-ere Malta Guinness, wetakwa abụọ ọzọ, mezuo ya atọ.
Ya, Ikenna, bọtụlụ Malta Guinness ole ka ị chọrọ ịṅụta?
Nwanne m, ọ bụrụ ịmaghị maka ihe rite goodness Dunlad nke ndị Malta Guinness, anaghị m aṅụ mmanya niile a na nkịtị o. Achọrọ m iji ya wee rite ihe rite dị iche iche dịka fridge, TV, generator, standing fan, instant airtime, ya na ezigbo ego. Gwam, otu a ka ihe rite goodness Dunlad nke ndị Malta Guinness si dị. Naanị zụta Malta Guinness gị, mepee ya, skanụ akara ya, itinyezi akara dị n'okwuchi bọtụlụ gị. Ọ gwụcha, ị nwere ike irite ego ruru nde naira 2 na ihe rite dị iche iche ruo ngwụcha Ọgọst.
Chai, Ikenna, ebinyego m uche anụ nwa kemgbe. Bịa, onye na-ere Malta Guinness, wetara m bọtụlụ Malta Guinness now.
Malta Guinness, nourishing goodness for every side of you.
Yo, Onitsha, are you ready? The biggest nightlife experience is here again. Secret Palace 0.2. Luxury nightlife redefined. From 8 p.m. till dawn, we're turning up non-stop. Great music, lit vibes, premium drinks, beautiful people, crazy after dark experience. On the wheels of steel, DJ Emak, DJ Young, Swags G, Hype Energy by Hype Man Chris O, Hype Man Shadow. Venue, Family Park Shoprite Complex, Onitsha, Anambra State. Thursday, 16th July 2026. Dress fresh, come correct, bring your squad. 18 plus only, oh. No gate fee. Entry is free. Secret Palace. Hey, don't miss this ultimate nightlife experience. Sponsored by King No More Loss, OJ Luxury Saloon, and the Living Bar. Brought to you by Ewa Culture. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and X at Ewa Culture.
You want crossroad? Phone dey your hand. One mistake fit cost you. Driver no go always stop. No rush. Stop. Look well. Check left. check right, cross safely. Your life no get duplicate.
104.7 Udala Radio.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, thank you for staying tuned to the Radio Order 4.7 FM. You are listening to the Polity this very Thursday morning, the 16th day of July 2026. My name is Franklin Ebekaton Nilsambeki, Chisonchine Dollar Force. We are seated to bring you the headlines and analysis for today's papers. So we begin with the headlines we have on Nigerian Tribune newspaper, which has been in existence since 1948. The big story there is on page 4. It says court orders final for future of university, 47 other properties linked to Malami. That story on page 44. I saw a story that gave an estimation of the monetary value of each of the properties that have been seized by the federal government. 47 of them. Him announces on page 3. Orile Senate donates 50 million naira to victims' families. Or your government pledges support on pages 3 and 4 Tribune. Nigeria's inflation eases slightly to 15.91% in June as food prices rise. That story is on page 5. Was it 2 days ago that I was complaining to somebody that I was just passing through somewhere and I saw things that I thought that I could like to eat, and I decided to just run to the market to buy. And I bought things worth 20,000 naira. Guess what? I was carrying it in this thing they call, this thing they call handless nylon paper. And I was telling the person, I can't even imagine that this is 20,000 contained inside this, and nothing can be seen from that. So that's our reality now. Then talk about another headline here. It says police rescue 5-year-old abducted in Ibadan. Arrest 2 suspect. Nab 3 suspect.
There have been possibly a new surge of crime in our different societies because, these people have to feed. World Cup, Argentina beats England, face Spain in final on page 29. 6 killed as gas truck explodes at Kogi Army checkpoint on pages 4 and 5. Court orders FG takeover of 48 properties linked to Malami on page 17. State Police, UK backs reforms as NAS lists safeguards on page 16. PSC unveils 50,000 police recruits on page 17. Tinubu to attend UN General Assembly in September on page 7 and on page 22. Poverty threatens 79% of Nigerians despite reforms. The World Bank is speaking.
Okay, so that very report by World Bank, I thought about it this very morning, and I took my mind back to what the First Lady did and what she said, in defense of the call she made. I also took my mind to the reaction which Files gave to the family, because some days ago, the First Lady said the likes of Burna Boy, Davido, that should emulate Akon by having foundations that are going to help Nigerians to lift them out of poverty. And Fast down wrote them saying that the last time he checked, he was aware that when the government was coming in, it came in on the mandate of Imiloko. It's our turn. And now when it's your turn to lead, you're not asking people outside to come and help in leading. But in the midst of this whole thing, the issue boils down to the level of poverty we have in the country, that if we are serious, we should be thinking about how to lift Nigerians out of poverty. Because at a time where government is celebrating the improvement in macroeconomics, and they are not having impact on the life of the common man. Okay, so let's look at the headlines we have on Vanguard newspaper. The big story there is on page 5. It says, gunmen raid Kogi school, abduct principal, NACO official student. And it has a couple of riders. One student to rescue the police. Governor Dodo mobilizes security agents to rescue abductees. It's time to make safe school initiative work. Naptan, NUT. Terrorists abduct 3 newly passed out soldiers in Zamfara. Demand 50 million ransom. Plateau bloodbath. Youths claim 50 killed in 1 week. Demand justice. That can be found on page 33 of Vanguard newspaper. On page 27, Southeast has been North's ally. We must forgive ourselves. Wampaso. Food inflation still rising despite drop in headline rates on page 13. FG NDDC mobilized $500 million Naya Delta Agric Fund to galvanize food production on page 28. Xenophobe of the aviation was trying to explain what happened in that very data. He said it wasn't emergency landing, that the man thought that the road he thought that the road was actually the wrong way of the airport, and that was why he landed the aircraft there. But so now he has been banned. Let's see how they are going to ensure that he gets to go through all the remedial processes before he gets back his license to fly.
You know, the funniest part is that the man's age, I understand he's 76-year-old, Pakistani, if I'm not mistaken. The man that dropped the flight in Delta. And yesterday I heard so many other rumors concerning that particular incident. And another question is this possibly a hogwash? What if we have not been actually told what exactly happened there? And what if we may never be told?
Okay, so that's the question there. This one says state police governors can't turn outfit into a private army. Abras on page 9. And the rider is on page 32. It says funding must be on first line charge. Bamidele. Alleged money laundering. Court orders final for future of Malami's 48 properties on page 7. Nigerian priest in U.S. commits suicide after order to return home. That story is on page 6. Why would he? Is it that he detests Nigeria, or is it that there's something what we were not told? And the last headline on Vanguard is inside the page. It says Tinubu intentionally rebuilding Southeast, says Soludo. These are the headlines on Vanguard.
Okay, now from the Vanguard, let's tell you what the Guardian says. The banner headline is Nomination of Candidates Row over a next deadline compliance as parties seek further extension on page 6. Headline inflation stagnates at 15.9% as rising energy prices trigger fresh concerns. On page 3, National Assembly proposes fiscal autonomy for states. Please, on page 3, Senate gives an NPCL auditors 1 week to explain 210 trillion naira and reconciled figures. On page 3, again, Tinubu defends administration's economic reforms. On page 7, court orders final forfeiture of 40 properties linked to Malami. On page 4, Senate rejects a PFIPC probe as article.
And we try to show that we care, and we begin to see this kind of donations. Do you know that there's one governorship candidate in Oyo State who has bought a car for the woman? I'm talking about Mrs. Rachel Alamu. Her car was taken away by the bandits and later burned. So somebody has bought her a new car, perhaps not genuinely because the person cares, but because he feels, because it's a campaign era, he might try to use that to get some political sympathy for whatever his aspiration is. So the thing is this. I believe that we can do better as a country by trying to do those things that are foundational things that can help us to be secure, other than when things happen, we all issue statements, do 1 minute silence, and life continues as if nothing happened.
It's really sad. Education Ministry. NBS begin fresh out of school children survey on page 30. The truth is, survey or not, you bring them back to school, and in a couple of weeks they're back on the streets because now who chop go see stamina go school. I think we should start looking at how to actually end child labor in the country. And maybe I understand that population growth is important for the survival of any human race. But maybe the population explosion rather, in certain places is also one of the reasons why we have this alarming number of out of school children, and we need to do something quick about it.
Okay, so from that very line that we need to do something quick about it, so we're going to begin today's analysis. Before then,
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
okay, you are tuned to the radio 104.7 FM, and time now is 9:46 a.m. and we have to begin at home. So, Tony, we talked about what the governor of Anambra State said. He made a post on his Facebook page that was 8 hours ago. If you do your calculation, that should be around 2 a.m. I saw that around 5 a.m. when I woke up. And like I said initially, that as of that very time, the comments were in the region of 1,000. As we speak now, there are 3,600 comments on that very post, and it's been shared 325 times. If you go to this comment section, you will see that it's mixed reactions. Some persons are saying yes, what the governor said is real, is fact, while some are saying that the governor is only being sycophantic because he believed that President Tinubu is his friend and ally. Now, what did he say? He said that President Tinubu is intentionally rebuilding the Southeast. Why did he say that? He talked about how he went to see the president some time ago, and during their conversation, he pointed out to the president that there are some roads in the Southeast that need to be fixed, because he believed that if they are fixed, they are going to connect the Southeast to the South and even to the North, whereby movement becomes easier. And according to him, after that very meeting, some days after, the Minister of Work, David Omar, he called him and asked him for details of the road, and he provided. And yesterday, being July 15th, he got a message that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved for the design and procurement for the roads. We're talking about the Otuocha to Anam Abaji Kogi road is going to be dualized, and the length is 108 kilometers. Then the Obane Wilga Ihube Okigwe Junction, which is going to connect Anambra and Imo State, then link up to Enugu Port Harcourt Road, is going to pass through Abia State. It's about 150 kilometers, and it's going to be dualized too. And these are some of the reasons why he said the president is trying to rebuild what was destroyed during the Civil War era. But some persons do not agree with him. So, Tony, let's look at what the facts are saying. From what we have seen so far from the government of the day, government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is he rebuilding the Southeast, trying to amend the ills of the Nigerian Civil War? In comparison to other governments we had seen at the federal level, has he done more for the Southeast than other governments that we have seen before him?
Well, it's debated anyway, there's no doubt, because every president who had served this country may have done one thing or the other in Southeast, but it's a question of what was the extent of what they did. If you judge by the time Obasanjo was in power, the Onitsha Owerri road, as we know, was a single lane. Obasanjo commends the dualization, even when we know that that very road, I don't know the exact number of kilometers, but it took almost 8 years before it could be completed. It was in fact completed and commissioned under Jonathan administration, which also bypassed Yar'Adua administration. But we've seen rehabilitation works along Enugu, Port Harcourt Road and other roads in the southeast. During the time of Yar'Adua, of course, he was able to do one or two things. Jonathan did, but Buhari did, and we have Tinubu presently. Under Buhari, remember, we had Second Niger Bridge, fully done, but it was something started under Jonathan, where Jonathan had put it as a PPP, public-private partnership, but it never worked. It was something Buhari did. The Second Niger Bridge, as we have it. And Buhari also did one lane of Onitsha Enugu Expressway. But the works have been coming in pieces. It hasn't been coming in the way many of us would have loved, because we've seen other things going on in other parts of the country. We've seen rail. We've seen Deep Blue Sea. We've seen projects in other parts of the country. But sometimes we do wish that these projects could be replicated in Southeast, but we are not seeing some of these things coming, as we do see them in other regions. Now, we know very well that last night, we are saying when the governor posted it, in fact, I followed when he posted it around past 12, midnight. That was when he posted it. And he communicated to everyone that he had a meeting with the president, I think on 1st of July, which you explained very well. But the result of that meeting was he meant to appeal to Mr. President when he met Mr. President. And one was Otuacha and Abaj, which is in Kogi, that road. That road, we are told, is about 108 kilometers from Otuacha, Anambra East. It gets to Anambra West, crosses into Kogi State, and gets to Federal Capital Territory. So what that means that you can go to Abuja from such stretch of road, and it will take you approximately 3 hours. If you leave Anambra State to Abuja, it will take you approximately 3 hours for you to be in Abuja. But now we know very well, for you to be in Abuja, it will take you approximately between 6 to 7 hours. 6 is you are the high speed. But it will take you about 7 hours for you to be in Abuja, because apart from the one that traverses Kogi State, Edo State, if you follow Bolafo, and then get into Kogi State, from Kogi State to get to Benue State, from Benue State to get back to Kogi State again, from Kogi State to move to Abuja, I think it's a long stretch. I've applied that road. I know what it's like. Well, I have known very well that the road is very significant, because we are talking about the dualization of that very road, which provides a direct link from Anambra State to Kogi straight to Federal Capital Territory, and it opens Anambra West Riverine area, which I know so well that it will reduce dependence on the Onitsha-Lokoja route for travel to Abuja. And it's expected to improve agricultural trade and interstate commerce along that very road. Very strategic road. And the other road in question cited is Oba, Newi, Oga, Ihube. Ihube is in Okigwe. There's, I think, around Okigwe Junction, you have a place called Ihube, around that area. And we are told that this road is approximately 150 kilometers. And it will also take you to Port Harcourt if you follow the route, because you get to Oba, because that road is a federal road. It has been neglected over time, and we have worried many of our representatives, senators from especially Anambra South, and by extension the entire Anambra State. We have queried them. Why haven't we seen that road captured in different budgets? It was one of the towns people used to mock Senator Oba when he was there as a senator representing Anambra South. But the truth remains that that very road, of course, connects Anambra, Imo, and Abia states. No doubt. We are told, the governor was saying that the president is intentionally rebuilding Southeast. And before now, remember, there are other roads the president has been doing in Southeast. And recall very well that you asked, does it mean he's the president that had done and is still doing more in Southeast compared to other presidents? But I was actually of the view that different presidents have done one thing or the other, but we are monitoring, because Mr. President has not even spent more than 3 years, and I don't know if he has spent 3 years. All right. So in any case, just like we said earlier on, Mr. President is doing many roads in Southeast, Onitsha, Enugu, Onitsha Expressway, which is about 107 kilometers. And you're also doing Second Niger Bridge Access Road, Phase 2B. I do see these very projects each time I'm going to Oka, and we know very well it's about 17.5 kilometers. It's still ongoing. And you're also doing Second Niger Bridge Bypass Access Road, Phase 2A and 2B, which is over 30 kilometer combined phases. And you're also doing Enugu Port Harcourt Expressway, which is ongoing, which is about 51.6 kilometers, which is a major reconstruction section. And he's also doing so many roads that stretches from Ebonyi State to Benue State. But he's doing massive roads in Southeast. But the question is that all we need? Because some people are saying, of course, I've gone to the comment section, some are saying, Mr. Governor, we will believe you if you bring Mr. President to commit to doing a dry port or a major rail project. That we know very well that presidents have been doing roads in Southeast is common. But what is uncommon is rail projects, sea projects or seaport projects that no president had ever done that. That by the time these two projects, either the rail projects or the seaport projects, whether you call it dry ports, comes to the Southeast, we will believe that definitely the rehabilitation as captured in a 3R when the one they declared no victor, no vanquish is actually taking place in the Southeast. But these are comments coming from people. But like I said earlier on, that very route to Abuja, the one that connects to Abaj in Kogi State, very strategic. And it will cost a lot. So what it means is that tenders are expected to bid. And the contractor has commenced.
In the words of some persons, is it premature to celebrate that? Because according to them, we're just at the beginning stage, and the governor was already celebrating that and thanking the president for what he did. After this very commercial break, we take that.
Udala Radio, 104.7 FM.
bịa onye na-ere Malta Guinness wetakwa otu bọtụ Malta Guinness ọzọ. Onye na-ere Malta Guinness wetakwa abụọ ọzọ mezuo ya atọ.
Ya Ikenna, bọtụlụ Malta Guinness ole ka ị chọrọ ịṅụta?
Nwanne m, ọ bụrụ ịmaghị maka ihe nrite Goodness Dunlad nke ndị Malta Guinness, anaghị m aṅụ mmanya niile a na nkịtị o. Achọrọ m iji ya wee rite ihe nrite dị iche iche dịka fridge, TV, generator, standing fan, instant airtime, ya na ezigbo ego. Gwam, otu a ka ihe nrite Goodness Dunlad nke ndị Malta Guinness si dị. Naanị zụta Malta Guinness gị, mepee ya, skanụ akara ya, itinyezi akara dị n'okwuchi bọtụlụ gị. Ọ gwụcha, ị nwere ike irite ego ruru nde naira 2 na ihe nrite dị iche iche ruo ngwụcha Ọgọst.
Chai Ikenna, ebinyego m uche anụ nwa kemgbe. Bịa onye na-ere Malta Guinness wetara m bọtụlụ Malta Guinness na.
Malta Guinness, nourishing goodness for every side of you.
Malta Guinness. Udala Radio, 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, are you listening to The Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM? My name is Franklin Lebekatuno Lisambeki is responding to questions. Chisontinedi is also here in the studio. And before that very commercial break, we're talking about that very project that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has given approval for design and procurement, which the governor of Anambra State posted on his Facebook that the people of the Southeast seems to be other than whatever that comes from him, it's seen as mediocre and below par.
Well, it's one thing to take something from friendship. You met a friend, discuss something with a friend, and in the space of a week or 2 weeks, that has come into fruition. And some are saying, is it not too early to celebrate that? Because these projects came as a result of friendship. It was never discussed I said, apart from Northeast, Southeast is the only region that has no standard gauge rail operational in the entire country. It's a concern. When we talk about marginalization, these are things I do point out. Apart from Northeast, Southeast has no standard gauge rail operational. Southeast has potential for river ports. We've talked about Oguta. We've talked about Onitsha. We've talked about some of these things. And why it is so important in South is because we are told, and I concede, if you go to Apapa Wharf, Tinkan Island, if you go to some of these affect the micro economics of the very area in view. It will affect a lot. But is that all we need? Just like I said earlier on, we need more. And I'm yet to see commitment, extraction of commitment. Because if you talk about Southwest as we speak right now, we saw what President Buhari and Tinubu, both of them did and are still doing. I'm talking about Tinubu still doing in Southwest. They have a Papa Port, they have Tinkan Island Port, they have even Lake the Blue Sea. If you talk about South, they have Onitsha Port, Port Harcourt Port, Warri Port, Calabar Port. You can imagine, but Southeast has not. It is really disturbing. I would also want, probably, whatever anybody can bring true friendship to Southeast, please, is commendable. If you have any friend who can bring project to Southeast, either in position of authority or out of authority, please do. Southeast, just like you said, has infrastructural deficit. From the last we checked, about 30.
And I'm going to borrow the words of a friend. I'm going to mention his name when I'm going to borrow his word to describe what he thinks that is happening now. So what are we talking about?
Udala Radio, 104.7 FM.
Okay, so we are talking about what happened in Delta State because yesterday, social media was awash yesterday with the story of the arrest of a content creator based in Asaba by name Ifanyo Bona, who is popularly known as Udugwa Fasaba. And he was arrested in connection with the alleged rape of a 20-year-old girl. From the story we gathered from the police, the suspect was, or rather, the suspect invited the victim to Asaba in the guise of teaching her content creation. Lured her to his hotel room, allegedly tortured and raped her. And then the victim, she couldn't deal with the trauma. She made a video which she posted on social media. I think it's about 12 minutes or 14 minutes long. And after that, she took insecticide, developed complications, and eventually died in the hospital. And police have arrested the young man. He said he's 40 years old. Some people are saying he's 44. According to police said he's 40. Then some other report are saying that he's 44 years old. But the thing we have discovered is that this guy might have a history, because I saw one of his videos where he talked about, women asking men for favors, and then when the man demands for favor, they begin to make excuses. But Tony, let's look at the basis now. How did we arrive at this point whereby people who are supposed to be mentors or people who are supposed to be influencers that young persons look up to, and when they cry out to them or when they seek their help in charting a direction for their lives, they turn to predators to prey on these very young persons, just like we have seen in the case in Asabatoni?
Well, Nigeria is tough because situation in the country, for me, and then the orientation, background training, these things are to be blamed. Yes, because now is a case of men and women, or men versus women, men against women, and stuff like that. A lot of decadence in value system, orientation, and the advent of social media has worsened everything. People display fake life on social media, outlandish lifestyle. Nobody comes to social media to let the world see certain ordeal, unless when they want to get help outside, trying or in attempt to get help from the public. Nobody talks about the other side of the life. Life has two sides, but they try to display, and there are those who are carried away by this social media thing. But let's keep it aside. You asked, why did we get there? You have watched the young man's video, and he's of the belief that nothing goes for nothing. That is his belief. His belief is that life is quid pro quo. You must give something in return. That is his belief. He has been preaching this. I have watched his videos. I think I've watched like 4 or 5. And out of the videos I've watched, the same philosophy. Nothing goes for nothing. It must come with something. That's his belief. That if you are out to ask for favor, what are you giving? What are you parting? That the life, the country has made it so hard that everybody's in need of one thing or the other. In other words, his philosophy can be best described as trade by barter. Let us barter. I'm giving you this. Oh, you want this? What are you giving me? Where I will give you, you give nothing. According to him, it's not acceptable. It's not allowed. He never preached rape because he went into, if he had stood by what he was preaching, because he said that if he gives you transport, if he gives you money, invite you, being an adult, you are going to a man's house, what are you expecting? You should order that. You must part with something, otherwise don't come. And he went on in one of the videos and said, if you come and you're not ready to part with anything or barter with anything, he will ask you to leave. He didn't do that. Because if he had done that, he wouldn't have been in problem. If he had asked this young girl, when the young girl vehemently refused and told him that I'm a virgin, not Virginia, virgin, the young man, life imprisonment awaits him.
I think we should start having conversations about how people end up being rapists in the first place. Yes. We should start having conversations about how the male child ends up getting involved in things like rape. Do we ask our sons, our brothers, our uncles, cousins, fathers what they think about rape? Because when they come up with the philosophy of, when you go to a man's house, what were you expecting? I don't see anything other than the fact that a rapist is looking for an excuse to rape somebody. When they start to ask questions like, what was she wearing? I don't see anything other than the fact that a rapist is on the prowl. Because at the end of the day, if rape is by what the victim was wearing or why the victim was there, the rape may not be happening in the first place. Tell me exactly what is there about children that would make people rape kids? This girl is barely 20 years, and by all standards, this man is twice her age. Did you see the picture of this girl, Frank?
Yes.
Now,
yes,
I mean no disrespect, but if it is by whatever standards are preached, why should she be a victim of rape? Other than the fact that there is a rapist on the prowl. Yes, his victims are speaking up. And the question at this point is, when people speak up, what happens? Do we keep having these pleas, these out-of-court settlements? Because we have seen it many times. I mean, if not the fact that this girl died, who knows, this may not have made it to the media. Because so many times this happens and settlements are had outside of the courtroom. So my first question, Tony, is should we have a law now that forbids cases of rape being settled out of the courtroom? Everything goes to the court and let the person get the maximum punishment.
Well, for me, anything about rape should not be settled out of court because this matter is a state matter. The state is the one prosecuted. The other state is the one prosecuted. So it's no more in the hands of the parents of the victim or in the hands of the two persons who are either plaintiff or respondent in this case. So it is not in their hands. It's not about settling outside the court. You can settle, but the law must have its course. You can settle and the parents may forgive him. That does not mean that the law will not have its own course.
Should we have a law to that effect?
Of course, it is. It's not a case. Settlement.
You know why I'm asking you this question now? This is not an isolated question. Okay. We have seen issues like this in the past, and you see parents coming to withdraw the case that they have settled.
How can you withdraw a case you did not institute?
You said it's
the state prosecuting.
The state prosecuting.
Yes.
Now, sometimes you see the victim's parents going to make a report, and before this even makes it to the court, you hear them saying, "Oh, we have settled. Drop the matter."
No, even not have a standalone law that says this would happen or that would happen, but it has been suggested in most of our laws. If you look at criminal code, if you look at penal code, if you look at Administration of Criminal Justice Act, if you look at some of these acts we have in the country, they also prohibit situations where, when a crime is committed, attempts made to subvert facts, suppress facts. Because when you tell somebody to withdraw a case, you are no more. You are subverting facts. You are subverting facts. And when you are asked to bring those things, you said you don't have them. You are subverting. And if it is proven you are subverting, there is offense for it. So we have these things in our law. They're in our law, but we don't have a standalone law that says or act that says you must cooperate. But having said that, let me also quickly, because it is good that we let people know some of the things. People don't even know that if you go to this very law that was recently passed, I think in 2015, I think it's an act, Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. If you go to section 1, it's broad. It talks about rape. It defines rape. But we know very well that even if you go to our Criminal Code Act, section 359, which talks about if you are convicted of attempted rape, that's about 14 years. But if you are convicted of rape, life imprisonment. And remember, this young man has got multiple charges, because he will be charged for manslaughter. He will be charged for manslaughter, but it won't be murder, because people should understand the difference between manslaughter and murder. Both of them come under homicide. Manslaughter and murder, they are not the same. Of course, manslaughter has to do with killing someone unintentionally. You don't have maybe premeditated thoughts. That's manslaughter. You did something that resulted in somebody's death. That is manslaughter. But maybe people are fighting, and before you know it, the one collapses and dies. That's manslaughter. But you guys were fighting. You didn't even hit the person on the head. But that's why you don't fight anybody. Manslaughter, if you're convicted in some of our life imprisonment, or at the discretion of the court, over 20 years in prison, depending on the role. See, we should be careful with some of these things.
So, Tony, we have a lot to say on this, but because of time, we're going to drop this so that we can switch over to the next thing we have, so that we give enough room for our listeners to be able to join. But okay, before you come in, please, let me drop this, because for me, I'm not going to ask questions now, but just to say one or two things, because I saw some gaps. One is that from the girl's narration, she reported what happened to her to the mother, and it was the mother who even gave her transport fare to come back. My question is, did the mother report to anybody, or she just mocked it? That's number one. Then number two thing is this. I will also urge people to do some kind of due diligence, because when you are social media, you might like what somebody does, and you might want to be mentored by that very person. It won't do you any harm if you take your time to do some profile on that very person, to understand who that person is, because by way of what we post on social media, to some extent, it reflects who we are.
Exactly.
Take, for instance, that video he posted about believing in nothing goes for nothing.
Nothing goes for nothing.
It could be an insight to you that this person
is a predator.
Yes. Then another thing now is what Oloka said, which I'm going to quote now. Chibuike Oloka. And he said, "We mocked education, glorified ignorance, and handed microphones to fools. Now the consequences are deadly." Check this very guy, he has
77,000 followers.
No, 374,000 followers.
On which platform?
Yes, on Odogwasaba platform on Facebook. He has 374 followers. One of the videos we highlighted.
374,000.
Yes, one of the videos we highlighted. If you go there, you see about 11,000 comments telling you the kind of followership he commands, and that is the people who have become influencers in our time that people listen to and people follow.
The truth is, just like I've always said, I will blame the young girl in a way, because she's not, or you wouldn't say she was out of blame. Because just like you said, suicide for me is despicable.
But Tony, are you trying to downplay the kind of trauma that women suffer when they are raped, especially if that person is a virgin, something that she has kept precious to her, and somebody took it away from her violently after she had pleaded for several times?
And you are right. Just like you said, when she communicated to the mom what happened to her, the post-traumatic process ought to have comments, but the mother probably may be ignorant.
Because if it was escalated at that point in time, perhaps she might have gotten some
Definitely.
psychological help.
And the girl from what we learned, she was a twin. From what we learned, right? And then she communicated her twin sister some of the things that had taken place. But for me, I will never support, glorify suicide, depend no matter the causative factor. I will never. Suicide.
Tony, we understand.
Even if Judas Iscariot betrayed Jesus, when he betrayed Jesus, and when it was done on him that his action had led to the arrest and possible crucifixion of an innocent man, what did he do? He ran, cried, committed suicide. But in fact, the scholars, many of them had the opinion saying that was the most despicable action he did. Yes, he committed the same thing, manslaughter, because his action led to arrest and crucifixion of an innocent man. He went and committed. I will never glorify, justify suicidal actions. Is not justifiable. In fact, not justifiable. Now, coming back to the issue, that young girl needed our support. And what the young man Odogu did, I have said people should stop calling anyhow people Odogu. They don't understand the meaning of Odogu in Igbo land. What we normally do give to people who have shown bravery in protecting communities, gallantry, and you give it to somebody who did Yahoo, and you start calling him Odogu. That man who did this for me should be castrated. That should be castration. In fact, it should be in our law. In as much as the person will be facing life imprisonment, the person should be castrated. I'm also proposing we should find an amendment. Add it. Yes, you're gonna, right? Spend life imprisonment, right? Entire life in prison, right? Put castration there. For me, a rapist has no place in our culture. In fact, during the time of our forefathers, you know what we do? Banish them. And our children for nobody. Wow. See, my concern is it takes two to tango. Where there is disagreement, please, parties should just leave.
Okay.
I was going to first when you talked about suicide not being an option, and Franklin rightly said you can never really tell what trauma it is the victim has faced or is still or was facing at the time that she decided to take her life, and that's out of the table for me. But also it's about time, I don't know how if it's possible, the integrity of people who come in social media to become opinion leaders, to become influencers. When you go under their comment sections, I think the Uloka guy you mentioned said it all. You know, we took everything away from actual intellectuals, and you know, this is the proper noodle pricing. Everybody wants to be a content creator, and this is the kind of things that these successful content creators are prone to. The list is endless, from the ones that sold nudes and so many things. The integrity of someone doesn't automatically get equals to the amount of followership the person commands. The fact that he or she has 1 million followers doesn't make the person a sane human.
That's true.
And I'm also hoping that this matter is not dropped, and in the future, matters of rape are not settled. Rapists, like Tony said, they do not have a place in our society. And I am hoping that as a people, we start to have actual conversations about rape. Parents, what do your sons know about rape? Do you even have this conversation with them? How do your daughters feel about being taken advantage of? Are they safe letting you know that something like that is happening to them? I mean, it's a long discussion. Like Franklin said, we're totally out of time, but I mean, this is where I'll be resting my case.
Okay, so we go for commercial break now. Once we return, we wrap up and open the phone lines. By the way, this thing happened, according to police report, happened on June 1st, 2026. That was the day the deceased traveled to Asaba to go and meet this very predator, who we saw in video asking the parents that they should settle out of court. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Hello. From the heart of Udala to your happy place.
Broadcasting live.
From Anambra to Diaspora, everybody sing out.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
Udala they shine, oh, 24/7 with it online, oh. If you they look for no rewind, oh.
Your day just got better right here.
Travel, Okwaya, my guy. Follow Uno Road. If you feel like say you want travel this night, no worry. Travel smart, travel safe, travel in comfort and style with GEO night bus service from Onitsha and Asaba, going straight to Abuja. Whether you're heading to Maraba, Kubwa, Utako, or Abuja Central, GEO Transport gives you a smooth and comfortable journey all night. Experienced drivers D, modern luxury buses D, and a commitment to passenger safety. Departure time is 7:30 p.m. daily. Takeoff is at Onitsha and Asaba. So why spend the night worrying on the road when you can travel comfortably and arrive feeling fresh? Book your seats today. For reservations and inquiries, call 0906 639 8630 or 0700 012 1000 or 0903 336 7275. GUO Transport Company. Comfort, safety, and reliability.
Public announcement. On the 9th of May 2026, between 6:30 p.m. to 7 p.m., a kind-hearted Nigerian discovered and picked a bundle of money inside a keke heading from Izuchukwu Park, Onitsha to Main Market, Onitsha. If you are the owner or you know the owner, please direct him or her to go to Toronto Hospital and ask to see the secretary. Please help to spread this information.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread. Wendy's bread. Mama, papa, they like Wendy's bread. Wendy's bread. Even children, they like Wendy's bread. Wendy's bread. And in town, Wendy's bread. You get it better, tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread. Wendy's your bachichoma. Wendy's bread.
Wendy's bread, tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, Second Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside CPS, Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tani Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, so you are still listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM, and this is The Polity. Franklin Lebukato Nodisambiki and Chison Chinidolo Force bring you this very program this morning. And we're going to conclude on this very development in Delta State where a content creator allegedly raped a 20-year-old girl who committed suicide there after due to the trauma that she suffered. So, Tony, we're going to wrap up on this before we talk about the next thing.
All right. Somebody sent me a message and was asking me, can a husband rape his wife? I said, which kind of question is this? But, you know, in any case, if you look at our laws and acts on the issue of rape, it did not say exception, marriage. So what it means, by our law, by implication, a husband can as well rape. But by our doctrines, is not supported by our doctrines. Let me say rape
Our doctrines did not address refusal in any means. Rape starts.
This girl, you did not tell the girl because girl said that they never discussed anything about sex, and the girl said that she put her WhatsApp message on disappearing mode. People started saying that you must have had something in your mind that this girl could be this, could be that. A lot of things have been said, but the law must have.
Okay. Let me say something. This is in passing. Then we'll translate. If you know that if you look at the criminal code, I think that law was worded around 1912 or 1921 or thereabout. Yeah. And one of the deficiencies of that very law is the fact that people were debating that it made proving rape very difficult, because there are some ingredients you must prove if you go to court to prove that you were raped, and it didn't recognize the fact that a man can also be raped. That was why they brought in the VAP law. Yeah, so if you look at the VAP law captured that a man can rape his wife, because if there is no consent, it can be raped.
And
But
a woman can also rape a man.
Yeah.
And one thing people don't understand, VAP also says any form of penetration, even in the mouth, anus, anywhere, even if you put your hand inside somebody's mouth without the person's consent, rape.
And that takes us back to what I was telling you, Tony. Rape is bordered on the issue of consent.
Yeah.
So if your wife or your husband does not consent, it is rape.
Okay.
No, it is. But then we are saying that there are other things like doctrinal issues around it, but I said our law superintends.
All right. So let's now look at this. We'll take like 2 minutes or 3 minutes to look at this, which is what the 2027 vice presidential candidate of the NDC said, Rabi Kwankwa. So he was on he was on an interview, precisely on BBC program, and he was talking about the alliance that existed between the North and the Southeast, and he said that the Southeast has been the Northern Nigeria's political ally, and he gave instances of what happened in the past, the time of MPC, NCNC, the Shagaris, the Puemes. Talked about how the two geopolitical zones rapport when it comes to politics, and he's saying that such can be replicated, that any misgivings, any quarrels, any dispute that have existed between the two needs to be settled. Whatever is the angst needs to be forgiven. The two need to reconcile, forge a political bloc to be able to achieve their political interest in Nigeria. Tony, is it making sense? What he said, is it fact or perhaps politics?
Well, for me, it is politics, but we need to reconcile. I wanted to stretch it back down to when the first major political party was formed in Nigeria. We know how the role the Southeast, in fact, Southwest has not forgiven Southeast for the role they played in 1960, when Awolowo had begged that the NCNC and the AG could have formed the government because nobody was able to read the threshold. It was actually a case where two must agree to form a government. But Zik, being the leader of NCNC, played to the MPC, the Northern People's Congress, and they formed the government. And even at that, Awolowo was saying that if Zik had allowed such alliance between a action group and the NCNC, Zik would have been the executive governor. You know what I mean? He would have been in charge of government, where himself as Awolowo could have been ceremonial. But I read some reports. They offered you ceremonial. You agreed, but I offered you executive. But what happened? But in some reports, it was alleged that Zik said, why I did what I did was because I knew I can trust the Northerners. That they presented a trustworthy certificate. He reminded Awolowo what happened when he won the election at the Lagos Assembly. How he was able to preach some of the members of the parties. Many of them started defection to the point that did not stand. He said that you don't have credit certificate. You don't have trustworthy certificate. Yes, you were able to offer me this, but can I trust you? So the point I'm trying to make is the North and Southeast before now had strong alliance, never matched, even in this present day politics, never matched. What happened? 1966 changed everything. 1966, 1967, these two particular years disrupted friendship built many years ago, alliance built many years ago. And if these two persons we are to continue, I don't think presidency will be rotating from southeast to north, from north to south. That would have been the case. And if you look around, in 1979, amongst all other contenders, Shagari shows Ekweme. And that was to be resuscitated until December 31st, 1983. Again, another year that disrupted such alliance. But there has been misgiving. I thought before now that had been forgiven. If he had not been forgiven, Ekweme wouldn't have been the vice president or running mate to Shagari. But over years, the rivalry seems to have been rejuvenated. And now Kwankwaso, yes, he couldn't have said this in 2023 because Kwankwaso was saying in 2023 that the North can never vote P2B. But now because circumstances has made him to be P2B's running mate, now he's preaching for reconciliation. I've listened to so many of them. There is need for that reconciliation. There is need.
Okay, so we are going to give you the microphone now for you to join. Perhaps when you call in too, you must well tell us what you think is the kind of political configuration that the Southeast might pursue, because sometimes when you discuss politics in the Southeast, they'll tell you the Southwest cannot be trusted. They'll tell you the North Central cannot be trusted. They'll tell you the North cannot be trusted. So if any of these people cannot be trusted, so who can you trust to be able to forge that particular alliance that can give you the kind of political leverage you need to play big in Nigerian political circles? 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. Please call in, take your 1 minute, make your contribution, drop your call. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
No, good morning, Udala Radio.
Good morning, we can hear you.
Yes, please. My name is Donald. I am calling from FM Onitsha.
Go on, Mr. Donald.
I want to make a contribution on these two central things we have just discussed.
Okay.
First is the case of rape. Actually, it's very despicable. It is very regrettable that at this stage and time, some people.
Okay, I think you have to call back. Please try to call back. Hello.
Thank you very much.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
I'm calling you from Onitsha.
Go on, sir.
You see, for factual sake, that road that starts from Urban New Road to Abia State was started under Muhammad Buhari. So let nobody bring those political shenanigans into this. Then coming to the road that was approved, that has not even been captured in the budget, and our governor is coming out to celebrate. I can tell you, that is the height of eco-friendly. And I can tell you again for free that so-called friendship is not genuine. It's not genuine. It is political. Okay? Why should I even, why should I even be doing friendship in governance? When we are talking about Nigerians in general, okay? So that's supposed to release our governor. I sincerely beg to agree with him, okay? We know what he's saying is because of just to truncate Obi's ambition.
Okay.
You understand? Although it's political interest, but that will not make somebody like me to convince me to do otherwise, because we are talking about Nigeria as a whole. If I give you something and I expect a letter from you, even if you are like, allocate those letters to me, I will ask, I will question you. What about other regions? What about the generality of the entire country? What about the security of lives and property?
All right.
It's
Thank
not
you.
the only thing we need in this country.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. Hello.
Hello, good morning, all in the studio.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
Yeah, this is K teacher, the driver that loves Udala FM.
Go on, sir.
Yeah, in terms of President Tinubu, that we the Easterners, well, that is a political statement to me. Maybe I believe he's nursing some ambition somewhere sometime in the future. That's why he's saying this. Even prior to what Kwankwaso is saying about the North and the East, the coming together as a stronghold. Maybe it might be a political statement as well, but then we must get it right. We must keep trying till we get it right. Because if we keep being divided, one day shall we be unified to forge a common goal.
6694. Hello.
Hello, Franklin. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Donald Sambeki, good morning. Chiton, good morning.
You're welcome.
Let me speak on the issue of Odogu and Asaba. It's quite unfortunate that this thing can happen in our own area here. It's very bad. It's very, very bad. I wonder how somebody, a grown up like that man that has 3 children, will face the kid and the wife and his people. That this girl is crying, please don't do this to me. I have not do this. And you forcibly do it and start laughing at her. But I'm so happy that I did this. After watching this film, I was like, so human being can be so wicked like this. You are telling that in the face of the woman again that is crying, that has never done that. You are starting Kodi road, Osoka. Tinubu is dualizing that road. Work is ongoing now. I'm not talking about Enugu on the So I can go on and on. Let's call it spade a spade. Tinubu has very good work in this south. Under 3 years, what we are talking about has spent 8 years in office. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for joining. Hello.
Hello, good morning, Franklin.
Yes, good morning. You're welcome on board.
You're welcome.
My name is Johnson. I'm calling from Onitsha.
Go on, sir.
I want to speak on the realization of Inewi Okigwe Expressway. It's a very good development. So if the president will do this, it's the shortest way to Okigwe and from Okigwe. From Inewi to Okigwe, from Okigwe will not take you 40 minutes. One road is good. But from now, it will take you more than 3 hours from Okigwe. If we do it, not politics, the welcome development. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. Thank you for dropping by. Very soon we are going to go to our Facebook page. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
Mr. Franklin, good morning. My speaker, good morning. This is Akamere.
Go on, Mr. Akamere.
I'm calling from Fegi. I want to react on what happened at the Delta State. That lady that died.
Okay.
I want to use this opportunity to advise our listeners. Please, it's not every thing you saw on social media you'll be commenting. How can that kind of lady, you don't know this man, you don't know him at any place, and you just send him, he invites you to come to his house.
He advertised the content creation masterclass or something. He actually advertised teaching people on how to create content and monetize their pages.
Okay.
He advertised it.
So, but what I'm saying is this, and also what I'm, when I got that information, I was kind of telling myself, how can that girl himself see herself? After all these things are done, she shouldn't see herself. At least you just bear it. You understand? Because you put yourself into the neck and you just bear it. How can she herself? Is it to punish that guy? I'm not supporting what the guy did. I'm not supporting it, but I think every one of us should be cautious. Thank you.
Okay. I think we have to go to our Facebook page now, so that after that we'll now know if we have more time to accommodate more things. But why we do that? The thing is, suicide is outlawed in Nigeria. Of course, if you attempt that, the law will take up on you. But I don't want us to downplay the fact that if you see anybody who is having a mental health challenge or having a trauma, that person doesn't think rightly. That is the fact we need to know about people who are passing through trauma or undergoing mental health challenge. So let's see what we have on our Facebook page.
Good morning, Anum's Amy. He's concerned about the governor's post this morning. According to him, he thinks that we deserve better as a region other than mere promises. And he thinks this is a bait for the Southeast to vote for Mr. President. He sees it as a Greek gift because it's an afterthought. But Mayowa says Nigeria is very easy to govern when there is surplus jobs and free and enabling environment for education for children in the various regions. Onya Kachiwosu, watching from Ijebode, good morning to you. Anyaji Gabriel says he's happy about the news, but not optimistic anyways, because we've heard loads of promises as such. Again, please plead with the government of Soludo on behalf of over the standards of roads we are having recently. For instance, Bida Road was being almost during construction. I'm trying to understand what you're trying to say. Festus Abode, he says His Excellency Governor Soludo is doing political propaganda. Isn't it a pity that a sitting governor in the person of Chukuma Soludo is praise singing for roads? quit the contract hasn't even been awarded, or the funds released for it? Can he bait that those roads will be constructed by President Tinubu? Ebuka Nabugo, he says, in the case of rape, when someone raped someone and also threatening to kill his or her victim, can it be settled out of court after the matter has been heard and addressed in courts? Walter Prince says, I put it to you that for rapists, they should be castrated and sentenced to death immediately. No amount of imprisonment is enough for a rapist. Ikorokam says, considering the rape issue, does the police know the relationship between those? Excuse me? Really?
What did he say?
I'm going to read the rest of your comment. He said, considering the rape issue, does the police know the relationship between the two parties in the first place? And also, if a girl is above 18 years old, do we call it rape? It's a question because before the girl went to the man's house, there must be communication between the two parties. Now, I need to make something very clear to you. A girl being in your house doesn't make it less of rape. As a matter of fact, if there is proof that you had any contact with her via DNA testing and all of that, and there is semen found in her body system and it matches yours, and she says that she did not consent to it, and there is any proof of force, you're going in for rape. Whether she's in your house, whether she came to your house, whether you paid for the hotel room, as long as she said no, you are raping the person. As a matter of fact, you have committed rape. Like I said earlier, these are conversations we should be having. Sex is literally the cheapest thing to buy. So why all of the plenty arguments over where she came to his? Even if your wife says no and you force her, if she sues you for rape, you are a rapist. Yes. Even the one that you have paid her bride price, even the one that you have previously, you have not married her, and you two have a previous record of intercourse. The day she says no, you are bound to respect it. Anything more than that, and there is proof of force, you are going in for rape. Why is it that many of our young youth love involving in this content creation? What is its benefits, and must everyone be famous in this country? It's high time all this so-called content creation should be monitored or abolished entirely in the system, because many of them are living in falsehood and also promoting fake life, hatred, and discrimination in the society. Eke Gunners, good morning. He says, the Odogo Asaba should be a matter of fact. As a matter of fact, being kirikiri and nothing like settling out of court. John Ngana says, Odogo Asaba misbehaved. His animalistic tendency should be tackled to serve as a deterrent to other so-called influencers. Priestley Val, okay, we're going to look into that. Destiny Emeka says, I can attest to the fact that the president, Tinubu, is trying in the area of roads in the southeast. At least there are no much falling of heavy truck or heavy duty motors with goods in our federal roads. Those are the comments we have on Facebook.
I want to comment something before we let's educate people, please. I was actually going through something. Let's also admit that Section 6 of the Criminal Code exempted marriage from rape. Section 6. So the issue of a husband raping a wife is exempted under Section 6 of the Criminal Code. But VAP.
Exactly.
VAP
recognizes
VAP defines it broadly. But as we speak now, there is a legal debate between VAP and Criminal Code, and it's still unsettled. Now, let me also say this. There are many states that don't have VAP laws. So it is still a legal debate. So let's not maybe misinform people. Marriage, husband raping a wife, is exempted under Criminal Code. So under Criminal Code, it says unlawful carnal knowledge. So if that carnal knowledge is lawful, it's not rape.
And unfortunately, it is forgetting that force is the only thing here. Whether it is lawful and there is force.
Here, we have to educate the people.
Well, you're educating the people, and the people also need to understand that force is
but then
bad.
It's also important.
I mean, whatever education you are doing, and you are forcing somebody, even if you marry the person.
You have to state the position of law and tell the people what they should also do. The position of law is what